Hi, I'm Wanda with Jimmy Blanch Homestead, and today I'm making apple pie filling, and I'm going to can it. So I'm starting off with Gala apples, and I need to scrub them with my little scrub brush. I use a dish brush designated specifically for fruits and vegetables, and that's all it's ever used for. And then I come over here to my apple mate peeler. You can see that there, and I keep all the peelings for my chickens because they will absolutely love that. And then I use my quarter and slicer at the same time. Saves tons of time. I still have to do a little bit of trimming, and I have to cut these pieces are wedges for eating, so I have to cut them in half again, but still saves tons of time. And I'm all into time savers. I have 2.5 bushels of apples, so you'll be seeing a few videos on different things to do with apples. Okay, so when I get an apple, I have to turn the apple to get the stem out. And then it comes out. And I have to do that before I put it on the apple mate. Okay, so we always press this lever here and pull the handle back. Once I have it done peeling, it goes all the way forward. So I just push the handle and pull it back to get it back in its place. Now here's the trick with apple peelers. You have to have as perfectly shaped apples as you can. And face it, they're not all perfectly shaped. And you need to try and get the prongs of the apple peeler in the center and as evenly as possible. So this apple is not perfectly shaped, but it's not too bad. And then we just turn the handle. And I have arthritis, so this is definitely a game changer for me. And I will still have some trimming to do with a knife, but this saves a ton. Okay, then I just push the apple off and then pull it back for the next one. Okay, so you can see that I have some trace amounts of peel here, and it doesn't get completely around the core perfect. So I will remove that with a knife. Much better. Then I place the apple back on the cutting board, and again trying to center the tool with the core. And push down flat, saving a ton of time. Remove the core, put it to the side for the compost. And as you'll see, because the apple's not perfectly shaped, some of the core went into the slices, so I'll just trim that up. But again, all these time savers still save me a ton of time. Then I cut the slice in half, and I put it in a bowl. Now this bowl of water has fruit fresh in it. You can also use lemon juice, but you need to put something in the water or the apples will turn brown almost immediately. It doesn't take them long at all to turn brown. So let me show you. I've been cutting for a few minutes and none of my apples are turning color at all. I just love fruit fresh. It is a little more expensive than lemon juice. So if you want to lose lemon juice, by all means, feel free to do so. Your kitchen, Your rules. And I always, each time I put apples in there, push them down in the water to make sure they're getting that fruit fresh and water all over them so that they don't turn brown. If you can cut faster than my tools, by all means do so. But like I said, with my hands and my arthritis in my hands, it really slows me down. So these tools are absolutely wonderful to me. Okay, push those down and I will continue on. So I'm going to go ahead and get these apples peeled. I need a total of 24 cups for this project. So it will take me a little bit to get that together. Well, it is the next day and it was pretty late by the time I got through with all the apples, slicing them and everything. So I put them in the refrigerator with fruit fresh to keep them fresh overnight. And now I am getting ready to make the pie filling. So for my recipe to fill 7 quart jars, I need 24 cups of sliced apples. So my big measure cup here holds 8 cups. That means I need to fill it 3 times. Okay, so in batches, I need to blanch the apples. So the first pot I have here has boiling water in it. Yep, it's boiling. And the second pot here is empty. It's just to keep the apples warm in between the batches. So I'm going to take the lid off this first one. Oops, I guess you can't really see here. There we go. And I have about a gallon of water in here. I am putting in the 8 cups of apples. The water needs to return to a boil and then boil it for 1 minute. It's actually boiling. So I'm just going to time it for the 1 minute and then I'll be right back with you. Forgot to bring you along. Okay, and then we need to bring the water back to a boil before we blanch the next batch. Well, I just rechecked my recipe and it's 24 cups of blanched apples. So my measure here is 8 cups, but once I blanched them and took them back out, they shrunk to 6 cups. And I'm sure that's because the apples are a little bit softer and, you know, kind of shrink down a little bit or pack down a little bit. So I will need 4 of these instead of 3 of these. So I'm glad that I checked that out. And my water is back to boiling, so we'll put in the next batch. And it is still boiling, so I'm just going to time it, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay, my time is up. So we're going to go ahead and scoop these out. And we'll just add them directly to the pot behind. Keep them warm. I'm using a slotted spoon to hopefully get most of the liquid off. Smells so good. Again, these are Gala apples that I'm using. They are a great apple for pies. A little bit tart. And I'll just go ahead and get the other couple of batches blanched, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so now we're going to prepare the filling that goes with the apples. And first I need to start off with 5½ cups of white sugar. Hope I have enough in here. Oh, yeah, I will. 5. And a half. Okay, so next up is clear gel, and it takes 1½ cups of that. It's in a Ziploc down in here because the top is supposed to be resealable Ziploc type thing, but it's not working. It's very powdery, like cornstarch. Okay, this one. I'm making a mess. That powder's going everywhere. definitely going to have a mess to clean up tonight. And I like to keep this on hand all the time for making my pies fillings. So I have a 2-gallon bucket I keep it in. Okie doke. Okay, next I need 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Remember, this is spread over 7 pies. So, let's see. Let me grab a knife so we can smooth it out. Actually, I think I need to take the lid off. My tablespoon's too big to get down in the spoon side, because usually I don't have measurements that big for. Okay, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and the nutmeg is optional, you don't have to put it in. I think I'll use just a little less than a teaspoon. Okay, before I add the liquid to this, I just kind of want to stir it up a little bit with my plastic whisk. Get that cinnamon and stuff stirred in there so it doesn't all end up in a clump. Now, to that I'm going to add 2½ cups of cold water. And 5 cups of apple juice. Ooh, good thing I didn't have a smaller pot. I was pretty sure I made it in this pot before. I'm just kind of giving it a quick stir before I turn the heat on. Okay, I'm going to turn the burner on medium-high. Up there, I guess. And we're going to just kind of keep stirring it. We're going to do this till it gets thick and bubbly. It'll thicken like gravy from the clear gel. Smells so good. So this is going to take a little bit to heat up. I'll check back with you in a moment. So last year I made and canned the apple pie filling, and I put it in 1.5 and pint jars. And when I used my large pie dish, which is mostly what I have, and I like big pies, I ended up using 1 of each. So this year I'm just going to put them in quarts, and a quart will be perfect then for a pie. It's been just a few minutes now, and it is starting to thicken. It's about the consistency of a thin gravy, like a chicken or a turkey gravy or brown gravy. So I just need to keep stirring. And this is the part that always seems like it takes so long. I can really feel it starting to thicken now. If I bring up my whisk, you can kind of see where it's thick on the bottom. So we definitely need to keep stirring it, and it will thicken pretty quickly now. Smells so good in here. Smells like the holidays. This will make my holiday pie baking so easy because I'll just be able to grab a jar off the shelf and pour the filling into pie shells and bake. Definitely thicken in that. My water bath over there is boiling. It's all ready. Okay, let's see if I can bring it in closer because it is thickened now and it is starting to bubble. Can you see that over there? So that means it is time for me to add lemon juice. And to this we are adding 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice. Again, we need to stir it. I'm going to turn it down just a little because I have gas heat and it gets pretty hot. Okay, so we want to boil this now for 1 minute. And of course I'm going to continue stirring this lemon juice into it. Try to get that all incorporated. It's so thick, it's kind of hard to get it into it now. Oh, I forgot to time it. So you can see it's quite thick now. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner off. I need to find a hot pad here to put this on. And if you're using a sweeter apple, you want to add more lemon juice. The recipe suggests 1/4 cup for every 6 cups of apples. Okay, so if you haven't already, you would want to drain the apples. I have already did that. I just did it off camera. Even though I used a slotted spoon, you know, a certain amount still went in it. Okay, now here is my pot of apples. And I'm going to dump part of this in to the pot. Let me see if I can get this off here. At a time and work it into the apples. I really wish I had a big, like 40 cup stainless bowl or metal bowl that was really wide, so I'd have room to put these apples and this topping in and really have room to work it around through it. But I don't, so this is what we're gonna deal with. Okay, so I poured, maybe half of it, maybe not quite half, into it, and I'm folding the apples into the solution. I just thought it would be easier to work a little at a time. And I really want to get them up from the bottom to make sure all the apples have this filling on them really well. Okay. Try and use the spoon to pull them up more. I think those apples are starting to cook. Look at that wonderful pie filling. It's a lot of work in one day, but boy, it sure saves me messing up the kitchen during the holidays and gives me more time to spend with family and friends. A little bit more in there. Okay, so at this point, I need to debubble. So I have a plastic measuring tool I use for that process. I can see there's big bubbles in there. There's bubbles out of the bottom, side. Be sure and do in the middle too, because there's going to be bubbles in there. Okay. And then I like to fill right up to the bottom lip of where the ring goes.
All done.
once you debubble, if you need to add a little more, you can. I know this one's going to be short because it was down a little bit before I started it, but I wanted to go ahead and get the debubbling done on it and see how much I need to add. Just a little. Got me 3 so far. Drop one. Okay. Oops. I need to get these jars cleaned up because they're all sticky. So I just have some vinegar here on a paper towel. I'm just going to get these cleaned right up. Oh, that one dripped clear down. Okay. Yeah, the ones in the beginning weren't so sticky. This one got slopped all down the side. And I am using Superb canning lids today. I get these through Azure Standard, And they have started making their own jars, which I just love because they are thicker than the other brands of canning jars. If you've noticed over the years, it seems like they just keep getting thinner and thinner. And that worries me when it comes to pressure canning, especially. So we're going to get these lids on. And I use wide mouths for just about everything because they are so much easier getting stuff into and out of the jars. Oops, need one more. Okay. Lids on them. And we're just going to tighten these to finger tight. So I just screw them on and then just a little bit more. You don't want to do them too much because it will, and I had it happen, buckle the lid and potentially not seal. Has to be able to get that air out. Whoops. I'm back here. Didn't want to catch. Okay, get started. Come on. Okay. More. That one's still sticky. Okay, we're going to get these loaded into the canner. Handles of that rack sometimes kind of get in the way. Okay, all of our jars are in the canner. And it shouldn't take long for that to bring back to a boil. Once it does, we're going to process it for 25 minutes. Now, I live less than 1,000 feet, so anything below 1,000 feet is 25 minutes. I will include in the description box the recipe, and if you live like in the mountains and those kind of things, for the different altitudes. We're boiling, so I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes. I'll be back with you when it's time to take them out. Okay, the timer is going off, so I'm going to turn the burner off and take the lid off. Uh-oh, one of them blew up. Blew the lid off. I didn't have the ring on tight enough. Oh. What a mess. If I can get that out of there. And it just happened too because I heard it. up there. It happens once in a while. The rings loosen up while they're boiling. And, you know, sometimes that happens. That was a bummer. I'll bring you back so you can see how pretty they look when I take them out. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way you can help our channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead. Take care and God bless.